And we are live. I am just getting the link out real quick to mostly the Discord, but a couple different places. And then I'll come on the Workbench here. Give me a minute. Very inexperienced as far as live streaming goes, so sharing that stream is, it's difficult. I don't know how to set up a link before I stream, so I just have to go live and then find the link, and yeah, so there it is. Anywhere else that I should post it? I think mostly Ciati's Discord is a good place. I'll just post it on my Facebook feed, I guess. Actually, no. Hold on. Discard that. Paul, how are you doing tonight? Up to anything fun? I'm just rambling. Alright, paste, publish, building a Cinerat. Ooh, that's the Ethics Cinewoop frame, right? I'm not super familiar with that frame. A few days of looking at it to the side. Yeah, man, same. It always takes me, here, let me get closer to the mic. It always takes me a couple of days of just working things out to figure out the best way to assemble it. And yeah, so I'll spend a day just putting the motors in the ESC on, and then I'll do the flight controller afterwards, and then solder things to the flight controller. And usually I can do it in 2 sit-down sessions, maybe 3 if I'm really working on it. Open ducts. Oh yeah, just like the prop guards. And no, this is not a glide. This was what I've been building in my last couple streams, which I don't think I have public on my YouTube. But this is the X-Hover Blaster. Blaster V2. Super nice frame. And I had a discount on it, so I got it. But this build is good to go. I just hover tested it the other day, and yeah, she's ready to fly. It's got that new TBS Crossfire 69 in the back, the Unify 60 or the Unify Crossfire combo, and then Acon hardware and a Runcam analog camera at the front. But this thing's done pretty much. I need to figure out a better way to mount the capacitor, figure out if I like this antenna mounting. Oh, that's the other thing. Like, so I'll do like motors and ESC first day. I'll do like flight controller and like camera and VTX and receiver the second day. And then my third day is like buttoning everything up. So like mounting antennas, figuring out how the like ESC lead is gonna, you know, work its way up to the battery, figuring out GoPro mounts. If I need to 3D print something, I'll do that between. Lots of space, yeah, for sure. It does have lots of space, partly because it's just one of those bus style frames, but also partly because, which is good, it's good to have the nose up front. It's a very cinematic designed rig. If you know anything about Blaster, he's a pilot, formerly known as Air Blaster, but he does very cinematic stuff. So I'm sure on this you could do like a 0 degree or a very low up tilt GoPro tilt and still not have props in view. And then it comes with a second GoPro mount that you can slap on the bottom, on the back here, and you can get props out of view with an up tilted GoPro, so you get some chase footage of someone chasing the drone, like a mountain biker chasing the drone or something like that. So it's a cool setup, lots of variety, versatility. But this is probably by far the cleanest build I've ever done, because that TBS part in the back cleans up, like it just totally cleans up the rear of this build. But it is nice and roomy anyways. So yeah, cool. Let me make sure everything's good. And yeah, but tonight, this is not the focus. Tonight I am building Bob's Glide, my Glide, the FPV Cycle Glide. I also like just got off work, so I'm gonna be eating dinner. I apologize if that's gross. But most of the time, I've only streamed twice before, and both times it took like half an hour for anybody to join because I just didn't share the link anywhere. All right, this one's going up on the wall. So I was kind of anticipating the same thing tonight, that I'd just start up the stream and nobody would join until I had time to eat some food, and then I could start on the Glide here. But I won this Glide off of FPV Exchange, or I won it from Nevin of FPV Exchange. Was doing some giveaways around Christmas time, and I won this frame. I won a set of, man, that looks pretty sweet. What else did I win? Some random bits and bobs. I won a set of the TBS grinder motors, bot grinders motors, which I don't have any current desire to use, but they do look pretty sick with the green and black. I've yet to actually fly a 2207 motor before, but I do like that they're high kV because I'm still on 4S, and they just look sick. They look like they'd really rip. And you got the pentagram. I mean, it's bot grinder, so I don't know what else you expect. The man flies in cemeteries and smokes a lot of pot and thinks he's a cyborg. What a funny dude. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna eat some dinner and then we'll get this thing cranking. I actually gotta go wet this sponge real quick anyways. Paul, if you don't mind me asking, what all is going on your Cinerat build? Curious what parts you're using, what motors, and motors specifically, and then are you analog or digital? Or you can just give me a full build list. Curious, I want to look at more of that frame. Cinerat. Here, I'll give you an interesting view while I eat food. Sorry if you can't hear me super well. It's a very rudimentary setup. It's just the GoPro on my desk, and it's the mic in the GoPro that is being used for audio. So when I turn to face my computer, you can't really hear me. Oh, let's get some Inception going. Current viewers too. I bet that includes me. I feel like I'm probably viewing it somewhere. Does this count? I can get rid of that. I'm interested in these. Do they have an option for real ducts or no? Oh no, dude, you blew up both parts, the flight controller and the you blew up the flight controller and the ESC? That's crazy. What's up, Ookie Treats? How you doing? 1507s, 2204 glides for the squirt. 2204 seems a little overkill for Cinewhoops. I know some people are using them. I don't have a ton of experience with micros in general. Not that I have seen. Yeah, man, that's a bummer, blowing up a stack like that. What a bummer. I really hate that for you. Just relaxing. Cool. Same here. I'm actually eating dinner right now, and then I'm going to be building up myself an FPV cycle glide. No, you can't see that. I just showed off the frame. Where's my cursor? An FPV cycle glide. Woo. And yeah, that's going to be fun. Early starting to build. Yeah, dude, that's going to be a powerful rig. 1507. So I've only actually ever built one Cinewhoop, and it is right here on the old Squirt V1 frame, and it's running those Brother Hobby 2004s, and I'm happy with the amount of power this thing provides. I need to figure out kind of best situation for battery to use with this. I've tried the 4S 850s, I've tried 4S 1300s. I'm thinking somewhere in between might be the right setup, so you get a little more oomph out of the battery and a little more flight time. I also am probably going to end up changing this frame out for something else. Good to know, Paul. All up weight on the Cinewhoop? That's a good question. It's pretty chunky. Let me go grab a scale actually, because I can't remember. $13.50 on 4S. 1050. That's what I'm thinking. Somewhere around like a 1050 4S. Seems like it would be awesome. Let that tear out. And then we'll see if you guys can get the view on the measurement there. Nope, too much of a glare. Hold on. There you go. All right. Dry weight we're looking at 249 grams, call it 250 dry, and I know there are some ways I could lighten it up. I've got a beefy VTX on there. I do need to figure out a better way to mount the antenna. So, and then I'm going to be running on a full GoPro Hero 6 most of the time probably. That's going to be another 120 grams, just about. And then we've got different options for batteries. So I actually don't have any 1300s handy, but if I add a 4S850, that's going to bring a total of 466 grams. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, it's chunky. And then I've found, I've flown it a couple times with these 1500 4Ss, and it flies great with that just because you've got so much power. That's 553 rather. So I guess I don't have a mount for the GoPro, so add another 5 or 10 grams for that, I guess, just to get that thing strapped on. But yeah, call it, what, so what was the difference? 550 down to 460, so call it around 500 grams probably for the battery that I'll probably end up using, which will be like a 4S, I don't know what, 4S 1050, 4S 1200, 1100, whatever I can find at a good price. But yeah, that's that guy. And then the new guy I just built is about the same weight as most of my freestyle rigs, right around, well, 744 is not bad. I do run pretty heavy setups. I run full SMA antennas, big chonky ones, and then I can swap that out. I do a lot of like long range flying, so I can swap that out for a longer antenna. This is a 4S 1800, yeah, 4S 1800, and then a full GoPro Hero 7 Black. So definitely a heavier setup. What's up, Double A? How you doing, Aaron? Who else is building tonight? Anybody? You said, Paul, you said you were, right? Working on the center, yeah. All right, so that's fun with the scale. Turn off, please. Thank you. And I've yet to actually take more than just a couple bites of my dinner. And now I've got 3 whole viewers, which is more than I've ever had on one of my dinky little live streams yet. I feel like I need to perform, but I won't. We'll just get these sliced open a bit. Start laying parts out. Ooh, okay. I see you. Got some countersunk screw holes. Is that what they're called? Countersunk? I don't know. Yeah, I'm bad about getting sidetracked. It doesn't even have to be like in front of other people like this kind of is. It could just be like, I'll just turn on the TV and be watching a show, and I'll have dinner sitting in front of me, and I'll just totally forget to eat because I just get distracted by whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm watching. I'm just easily distracted. It's just leftovers for dinner anyways. I'm gonna scarf a few bites down real quick. And to go with dinner, I'm enjoying a nice Oktoberfest, courtesy of the local Breckenridge Brewery, semi-local, like an hour away, plus. Hour plus. Oh shoot, double A. That's awesome, man. I mean, taking a year from building new rigs is, I get that. I do. I've been there. I've taken a year of I've taken 6 months of not touching FPV in any way, shape, or form. And hold on, I gotta move the screen. It's really relaxing to kind of take a break, but I definitely have gone about that length of time without building anything new. It's kind of nice just to rock like whatever you've got and just, you know, try and not crash it a ton so you can keep flying it as much as you can, and then just repair the same rig. But dude, that's awesome that you're trying to get a chapter started. Are you going through multi-GP? I'm curious because when I lived back in North Carolina, they were kind of just coming out of having lost the chapter like director, the head guy who would kind of organize it, chapter organizer. That's the term. He had like gotten in a motorcycle accident, I think, and like was going through a long recovery, like serious injuries. And anyways, so right as I started racing with them, what's up, Chomper? Dude, good to see you here. Thanks for stopping by. Anyways, this chapter, right as I was like getting into FPV and getting into racing, was basically like without an organizer at all. And so like we were trying to get people to step up, and a few times I thought seriously about stepping up to the plate and being like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you guys need help, so let me help. But it just wasn't in the cards for me. I just couldn't make it to enough races regularly enough to like commit to that. But yeah, multi-GP does some cool stuff. Indie GP. I don't even know other like legit race what organizations, I guess, in terms of like setting up local chapters other than multi-GP. That's really the only one I know of. Yeah, I feel like maybe I've heard of Indie GP, but probably anytime I've heard of Indie GP, I just assumed it was Indianapolis's multi-GP chapter. I've got Discord notifications going off. I should make sure I'm not being hailed. Open that up in another tab. What's going on? Ooh, we got pics of the Cinerat and you said it was a squirt, Paul? Oh, gotcha. It's a chapter. Where are all these notifications coming from? Private messages? I don't know. Nope. No private messages. Alright. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Chomper. Oh, double A. Indianapolis. Yeah, they're not racing at all right now. That's kind of surprising. Indy is a big... I forgot you were in Indiana. That's right. Indianapolis is like a big racing scene, not just because Paul, but like the whole thing. I always thought that they had a pretty big chapter going on there. Dude, yeah, Chomper, that's awesome. And getting gates and flags and stuff is tricky. I remember, yeah, when that chapter I was just talking about in North Carolina, that was the like what did they call themselves? Western North Carolina, but it was just basically Asheville. And most of like the legit races we ran were through like pool noodle gates, just because that's what we had access to. Dan Richmond in the house. How are we doing, folks? Sorry to start this stream and not be doing anything. I've got a few viewers now, and I'm just sitting here eating some dinner. Apologies. Dan Richmond, what are you up to tonight? All right, we'll get started. And Chomper, when are you coming back to town? Sorry, when are you moving here? Is my real question. Is that happening like next week? 2 weeks from now? Better not be longer than that. All right, come on. Central North Carolina. Oh yeah, where at? Yeah, I lived in Asheville area for like 6 years, and then like 13 months ago probably, like just over a year ago, moved out of there, and landed myself in Denver, Colorado. That's where I currently am. But love North Carolina. Statesville, yes, been there, raced there. I've flown drones in Statesville. I think I've back probably in like when would that have been? Probably like April or May of 2018. That sounds about right. Was it Statesville? Yeah, I think it was. I have a few different race leagues out there, or multi-GP chapters that I would I'd try to get to those races whenever I could. Usually I'd just make it to Asheville chapter races and to Asheville and then Greenville, South Carolina. Those were Asheville was like pretty chill environment, like low stakes racing. Nobody really took it all that seriously. And then Greenville and Spartanburg, that's the other town down there. Greenville, Spartanburg area, there were some serious racers, and they'd attract some like serious racers from the southeast region to come to those races because they had like legit organization and stuff. So that was fun, getting to learn to race there. Dude, Dan Richmond, hit me up somewhere. I don't remember exactly like how far Statesville is from other places like Charlotte, Fayetteville, Raleigh, but I know North Carolina is tricky. North Carolina has a shocking number of FPV pilots actually, and they're all just spread out like so far away from everybody else. Like everybody's just in the country, which is a lot of what North Carolina is, which is cool, but it makes for hard to like get together. It makes it hard to like get together and meet up and fly. But dude, hit me up somewhere on I don't know, Instagram, wherever. Remy Tim, like everywhere. I don't know how this frame goes together. I'm just figuring it out as I go. But dude, I can definitely Dan, I can definitely hook you up with some people who maybe I haven't flown with, but I probably know some names to put you in contact with. If you don't know where to hit me up, you can hit me up at my all new link tree. Whoops. Let's figure this out. Gotta remember how to use the chat. Chomper, that's too long. Beginning of next year. Tisk. Yeah, shoot me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. And I can't think of any specific names right now of who might live in Statesville. I'll just kind of pull up a map real quick. Statesville, North Carolina. Yeah, folks, there is almost always somebody closer to you who flies FPV than you think. It's just a matter of using Facebook. Facebook is the place to go. Heyo. Hold on. Sorry about that, folks. Thanks for not bailing. Hey. Alright, that's fun. Let's get this thing a little better sorted. There we go. Noise. Yes. What have I missed in the chat? Yeah, AA. Dude, timing stuff and, well, anything you need to run a chapter properly. It's hard to get, it's expensive, and like you're using it, you know, maybe twice a month if you do bi-weekly events, maybe 4 times if you can get enough people to come out every single week. But like, man, that is that's tricky stuff. Okay, what else we got? Dan, yeah, I was looking at a map of North Carolina because I couldn't remember where Statesville is. I'm pretty sure I know someone in Salisbury, whatever. I knew some serious people in Charlotte area. I know that's not like super close to you. Where else? Statesville. And then out towards like Raleigh, Durham, definitely some, but that's pretty far. Man, Statesville. I'll have to think through some people. It's hard to find. It's hard to drag friends into only an hour away. Not too bad. I had a really close friend who used to fly, named Mike, who lived not too far from Charlotte in, I can't even remember now. But he quit flying probably like a year or 2 ago, which is a bummer, because he He's a damn good pilot. All right, pulling up a diagram of the glide frame. Cool. Yeah, Chomper. No excuses. No excuses, man. Get out here. Just kidding. Take your time. Live your life. Live your truth. I don't know. But I just met up with Jax last night on my way home from work, which was cool. He had a package to pick up that got shipped to his old apartment, and I went with him to pick it up, and we just talked shop all evening, which was super cool. He's got some 3-inch projects that he's working on. I've got some 7-inch projects that I'm working on, and so naturally we have no projects with anything in common with each other. But where's my good hex driver? Using the trend. Oh, okay. Dude, Chomper, that's cool. That sounds like cool gear to have for racing. Most of the racing I did back in the day when I was into that was actually without any transponders. We just did lap counts, which only gets you so far in terms of, like, you know, participating in qualifiers and stuff. You really have to have timing equipment, but it's hard to come by that stuff and make it work. Let's see. Don't hesitate to tag me in the chat if you want to make sure I see your comments, my friends. I won't be able to catch everything. Okay, looking at diagrams, we've got screws in from the top and screws into standoffs. Here's the bottom view. Wait, how are there bolts going in on both sides, both the top and the bottom? That's not right. So that must be a nut. All right, let's figure this out. So top plate actually goes on top of the arms, and then sandwich plate underneath. So let's bust out some hardware. I'm guessing, actually I have no idea. So we'll just figure it out as we go. I'll just kind of slice these open and see what's what. All right. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by random happenings. So let's figure this out. So that's stack mounting hardware, which is not integrated with the arms, which is actually pretty nice. You don't come across that too often. Most of the time, the 30x30 and or the 20x20, and it's got distinct M2 and M3. But most of the time, you encounter that. Interesting. Looking at this as well. We've got like double holes there. Is that just, what is that for? I don't know. But typically what you'll find is that the holes for the arms, well, a lot of times are integrated with stack mounting, at least with frames that I've flown in the past. So this is gonna just be some trial and error to figure out which screw goes where for the right lengths, and that's okay. That looks pretty short. Those look medium length. Here's what I'm gonna guess. This is gonna go through, where's the standoff go? On the inside, which means the outside will go screw. Oh boy, there's tight tolerances on that carbon. I'm gonna have to thread that in. 1 second. Here we go. Also, got a fan running that I can turn off. That probably helps the audio quality. Got to grab my good hardware. Let's see how this goes. Jeez, that is really having to thread in there the whole way. That's interesting. The arm's a bit looser, but not much. Okay, that looks like the right size. And then grab the nylock nuts. Actually, we'll go ahead and get that going with my finger first. There we go. That's hilarious. The carbon just spinning around each other. I guess getting that second one in would help too. So that's gonna be what length? Well, most of the hardware can be pretty short. Oh, that's what these guys are, I bet. Only 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 spares. What's going on? Oh, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Oh wait, no, because these are countersunk. So 1, 2. That's going through an arm. That's going through an arm. Sorry, that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that it? So that would be those short guys. What are these long guys for? And it could be for the standoffs. I don't know. That's weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. Let's go ahead and assume that we have to use these long ones for. I'm guessing those are. Well, honestly, I don't know. But let's just try and get these on and see what happens. So then get that through. Oh shoot, I put that nut on. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I forgot to put the actual bottom plate on. I just put the sandwich plate or the X plate in the arm, which doesn't help anybody, which probably means I'm gonna have to use a longer bolt than this. X plate looks symmetrical, so we can go ahead and just pop this in either which way. Wait, that's not right. What's going on here? Is that right? That's interesting. I mean, that must be right because it lines up perfectly. But why is that whole press nuts? Ah, my sworn enemy. All right, I'm figuring this out. If anybody has any tips, anybody who's built a glide before wants to tell me everything that I'm doing wrong, please do so kindly. Dang, press nuts. Okay, that makes some sense. So let's move all this out of the way and basically just make sure that these all get installed, go in the same direction, which shouldn't matter which direction. Oh, that just slips right in there, kind of. Oh wow, that really weird. That doesn't seem right at all. Seems like that should require some serious force to get in there. But here's what I'm guessing, you just press it in gently. Oh wow, I mean, there's no resistance in that. Is it going in the right way? I mean, weird. Well, now I've just installed one of them backwards. Okay, well there's no resistance on. Are these directional? This is bizarre. Last time I had to self-install press nuts was on the Armisen Rooster, and that frame was an utter nightmare. When I finally sold that frame, it was the happiest day. Whoops. Saved it. It's the happiest day I had as an owner of that frame. It was just so bad. Okay, those guys are just slipping all around. What's going on in the chat? Y'all are just chatting it up with each other. I'm confused why that just pops in and out with no resistance at all. Is that the right hole for it? It must be. It doesn't go anywhere else. Hold on, back to the diagram. It looks like, man, but for the press nut to work, it has to bite into the carbon. Otherwise, I mean, kind of, I guess. I don't know, that's weird. It's hard to see in this picture here, to be honest. Come on. Yeah, the nut is just like, hold on, let me get video back. I might have to cut off for a second here. The GoPro is a new one. Yeah, hold on, give me 2 seconds, I'll be right back. We're back. And click through. Love it. Sorry about that. The GoPro I used the last couple times to stream, it took me, the first time I streamed, well, it's this one here. The first time I streamed, it took the GoPro shutting off 3 separate times before I realized that it was on, that in the settings it has auto, excuse me, it has auto power off after 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, it would just shut off. That's what just happened now. It just shut off after 15 minutes. Yeah. Because I am using a different GoPro than I used last time, and so it still had that setting turned on because I didn't think ahead. Okay, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with these press nuts. If I can get them all to fit in on this side, then I'll roll with that. But I don't love putting them in and pulling them back out. Okay, they do feel tighter from that side. So maybe these holes are directional, even if just barely. I mean, that just kind of snapped in. It didn't feel like a tight fit. What about this one? Nope, this one's still pretty loose. Wild. Is it the nut or is it the hole? I bet you it's the carbon. That's weird. Okay. Well, let's try to move forward despite it. Anyways, I think I was talking about the last time I had to install press nuts. At least it's not falling straight out. The last time I had to install press nuts was with the Armisen Rooster, and that frame was truly a nightmare. Full of vibration resonance, full of just every sort of issue you could. Literally, like, the frame fell apart mid-flight because it just had too much vibration, I guess. I don't even know. But that frame burned me a few too many times, and I said, nope. I said, no more. Okay, that doesn't look like it's quite gonna reach the top of the press nut. So maybe I do longer. Is this a longer bolt? Let's flip this around and just do one through the other side. I don't know what length these all are. I haven't opened you and I haven't opened you, so this must be that mid-length. Figuring this out on the fly. Love it. We're gonna try both lengths and see which one I like better. I'm not sure. I guess 1, 2, 3, 4 through the bottom, and then the top gets what? Why would there only be? I don't know. I'm confused by why this short length exists. If not for this one specific purpose with the arm into the press nut. But you never know. Okay, well, this is just going swimmingly. Also, this press nut is definitely not pressed in. Good, we're just flopping arms around. Okay, no, that's too long. Okay, so it's gotta be the other length. I'm learning. So, take this out. Go ahead and remove it all the way and set it aside. I'm probably gonna have to use some Loctite on this frame hardware because I don't love how these press nuts are just kind of sitting there. Also, look at that carbon dust on my fingers. I still have food sitting over here. I want to eat, not get poisoned by carbon fiber, please. Okay. Learning. I'm gonna go ahead and shove one of these longer guys. Actually, it probably needs to be even longer than that. I'm gonna guess that might be provided for a stack screw. I'm gonna guess these really long ones are provided for through arm standoff bolts. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that's gonna be through that hole. Man, all these holes are very tight tolerances. So tight that I can't even get it in just with my fingers. Got to use the driver. Jeez. What is going on here? Oh boy. I'm just bending all the hardware all sorts of which ways. There we go. Goodness sakes. All right. Let's see if we can get a couple arms attached. Just one at a time. Through there, line that up, and tighten into that press nut. And I shouldn't tighten all the way because I still have 3 more arms to fit in there. However, that arm looks like it's in. Okay, one down. Bunch more to go. Okay, so what I've determined is this hardware is to be set aside, and this hardware. Okay, well, it's all coming out, so I might as well pull it all out and set it all to the side, all together. My workbench is an absolute nightmare of a mess. Windjumbi, what's up? I'm sure I'm butchering that name. Windjumbi? I don't know. This is an FPV cycle glide, and it's going to be built the same way that I built this quad, which is Acon hardware, run cam, analog cam, and the TBS 69 in the back with hype train drib motors, which are 2306, 2650 kV, which I'm currently still running with 4S batteries. And that's the build. And it is a tedious process to assemble a frame that I've never assembled before. You'd think I would have learned a thing or two watching all of Ciati's streams, where this is all he does all day, every day. Is just builds glide frames, swaps an arm, builds a new frame, swaps a motor, swaps a camera mount, or VTX, or yeah, antenna mount, swaps an antenna, whatever. It's all on glides though. You'd think I'd learn. But the secret is, I don't actually watch Ciati's streams most of the time, guys. Most of the time, I have him in my ear. And sometimes that's using the Patreon bonus of getting the podcast feed. You can get an RSS feed by being on Ciati's Patreon. Sometimes I'll use that, but most of the time, because I pay whatever it is, the $10 a month or whatever for YouTube Premium, I'll just be going about my day. I'll pull up Ciati's stream on my phone, and then I'll lock my phone and put earbuds in, and so I'll just listen to his stream live while he's streaming it through YouTube, and I'll just rock it that way, which is pretty cool. These bolts are barely sticking into those press nuts. I guess that's okay. I feel like they should be coming through more. But this one I know would have poked out way too far. So I'm just gonna press forward, and I can always revisit it if need be. Yeah. Anybody, whoops. Does anybody in the chat have any sort of troubleshooting that they're doing on any builds right now? Any quads that are having issues that they can't quite explain and need some help troubleshooting. That's part of the thing I like to do in general, but if these live streams become a thing that I continue to do, I'd love to be able to talk through some troubleshooting steps with pilots who are having issues of their own, or whatever it may be, where you're just not sure what's going on with a quad, or just general FPV questions. I really need to pull the chat back up out of this screen so I can see up close. Who else is here? Happy? What the heck is up with you? Dude, thanks for stopping by. I'm just hanging out, having a beer, and building a glide frame, and having a good old time with some friends. And it wouldn't be the same without you here, Happy. Having terrible video noise. Tell me more about that build, Wind Jumble. I'm guessing you're on analog video. Tell me, what's the camera, what's the VTX, and what are the motors, and what size propeller? And I would be more than glad to think through some things. I could just give you the easy answer, which is make sure your camera ground wire and your video transmitter ground wire are soldered to the same exact pad on the flight controller. I'm not just saying both of them need to go to a ground. I'm saying, like, get the two wires. They should both be black because they're both grounds. Get the two little wires, solder them together, and then solder that clump to a ground pad on the flight controller. And that, like, 80% of the time cleans up noisy video. Wind Jumpy, yeah. What ones? Sorry, my chat here is absolutely tiny. It's way over there, off the screen. I need to figure out a way to pull it closer so I don't have to slide over any time to read. Let's see what's going on. BeepTube. BeepTube's in the house? Paul McDonald tagged BeepTube. Where's BeepTube? Hey BeepTube! There you are. Shark bite build. 90%. Ooh, AOS 3.5. BeepTube, tell me how that is once you get it up in the air. I'm super curious. I have on the way the AOS 7 Falcon. So Chris Rosser and Falconrad, is that his name? Yeah. Their collaboration on a 7-inch dead cat. That is on the way to my place currently. And oh, good call, Happy. Thank you. Speaking of, I've got a million notifications on my phone. So, let me pull that up. Okay. Maytag F405 stack, Xylo 2600 kV 2206. Panda RC. I don't know anything about the Panda RC VTX, so we're gonna look that up. So here are my recommendations for you. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna grab Panda RC. You said 600? Camera was grounded to the camera plate, put some TPU washers in between, solved immediately. Dang, Chomper. That's brutal. Tracking that down sounds awful. Yeah, that sounds awful. Man. Camera was grounding Panda RC 600 milliwatt VTX. Panda RC products. That's probably it. Guessing that's the one. Could also be that one, but that seems more popular. Sorry, let me pull up the chat here. Tried the ground. Replaced everything except the camera twice. Dude, that's brutal. Okay, you tried the ground already. Windjumby. Tried 5 volt, 9 volt, and VBAT. And still noise. Less on the 9 volt pad. Do you have a capacitor on the build? Like a little 1000 microfarad. If you're running those motors without a motor limit, you're probably on 4S. So what you need is, this one's too big and is overkill. What you need is probably a 1000 UF. Oh, sorry. I don't have my bench cam on. Here we go. Cap like this, a 1000 UF, 25 volt or 35 volt capacitor. If you don't have one of those, that can help a ton. I'm surprised that you're still getting noise off of 5 volt. So this VTX can take input voltage 7 volts to 24 volts. So you can't run the VTX off of 5 volts, but you could run here's what I would recommend trying and see if it works. Run the VTX, Windjumby, run the VTX off of, you said 9 volt was cleaner. I'd say run it off 9 volt and then run the camera off of the VTX's 5 volt out. Unless you're already doing that, then run the camera off of the flight controller's 5 volt. Most of the time, flight controllers have really clean 5 volt because they need it in order to yeah, 30 by 30, okay. That's what I would recommend. I would recommend, well, tell me where you have it powered from. The VTX is powered from 9 volt, and where do you have, came with the stack, 470 UF. I mean, you should, 470 is realistically enough for most builds. Have you, Windjumby, have you checked the motors for excess noise? Because that can definitely cause it. So the best way to do that is to take your props off, go into the Betaflight Motors tab, and spin up the motors one at a time, only up to like, the slider goes from 1000 to 2000. This is the way Ciotti describes it. I've been doing this tactic for years too, but run that slider just on one motor at a time. So start with motor 1, run that slider up to like 1300 or 1400, and hold on to the drone while you do that. Props are off, obviously. Hold on to the drone on a flat surface and listen and feel the amount of vibration that, well, there's the front. Motor 1 would cause how much vibration. Motor 2 then spins up independently and causes how much vibration. Then motor 3, then motor 4. So spin up each one and compare each motor. And if one just sounds like utter garbage compared to the rest, replace that one motor. See if that helps. That'll help with general flight characteristics anyways. But replacing a banged up motor with a clean one can definitely help. Man, and they both share ground. So does that work outside of bidirectional D shot? It does. Yeah. The motor testing or spinning up motors as a way to check for noise. Yeah, because you're just feeling for physical vibrations in the quad. People talk all the time about like electrical noise, but like a lot of the times in FPV, problems with like having a hard time PID tuning or like getting the filters right or camera noise, video noise, whatever it may be, a lot of those issues are caused by physical, like basically physical malfunctions. Number 4 is garbage. I mean, I hate to say it, but try replacing the motor. You can hold on to the garbage one, and if the new motor doesn't fix it, then, well, you've just got a spare motor. So you're not really losing out on anything. But filtering in Betaflight isn't really going to help, because you still, I mean, it would help with your tune, but you're still going to have physical vibrations coming off arm number 4, and it's vibrating the whole quad. It's sending electrical noise back into the ESC. So the filtering, what that's going to do is the vibration coming off of that motor, the flight controller is going to filter that out. But the electrical noise running back through those motor wires, that's still going to get into the ESC, and that's going to get into what's powering everything else. And so you're still going to see electrical noise from just the motor being from the motor having vibrations most of the time. If you want to try something before you go buy a new motor, or while you wait for it to ship out or something, brand new motors. How do you have a garbage motor if it's brand new? Noisy ass motors. How do I quiet all that noise? Soft mounted. I mean, wait, what motors did you say they were? Are they just bad motors? I mean, I hate to say it, but you buy cheap gear, and Xylo 2206, 2600 kV. Those shouldn't be that noisy. Are all your motor screws tightened down but not poking into the windings? New motors should, I mean, even cheap motors should not be like especially noisy. Crazy. Cheap patch on goggles. Dan, Mile, love it. I love flying long range. If you've seen any of the videos I've recently at all posted on my channel, it's basically all long range stuff. And man, I love it. I love pushing the limits of my gear. I mean, this 5-inch quad, even, at some point I'll probably send this, maybe not a full mile, but I'll do on my 5-inch rigs, just with a normal freestyle battery. I'll do half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, but usually that includes some elevation gain, like up a mountain as well, but I'll do that anytime. I said the same. Number 4 is the garbage. Sorry. You said the same wind jumpy. What does that mean? You lost me. Hate walking long range. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've ever dropped a drone. If I've ever had a real crash while doing long range. I've had a crash while testing a long range rig over my neighborhood, and it like crashed down into the neighbor's yard, and their dog freaked out. It just like crashed in their driveway. Could have been way worse. Yeah, wind jumpy. Those motors shouldn't be noisy. Eco 2. I would try. I don't know Panda RC wind jumpy. I don't know their reputation. I've heard of them before, but I don't know anybody who flies them. Here's what I would recommend. Keep running the VTX off of 9V, because you said that helped. And then, yeah, switch your camera power from 5V out off of the VTX to a 5-volt pad on the flight controller. And that seems to me like the most likely solution to your problem. Try that. Get back to me. Hit me up at fpvmentor.com and reach out to me anywhere. And once you change those solder pads over. Also, I guess I'm missing all sorts of really basic steps. The first thing I should have asked was, does the video get worse as you increase the throttle? Is there video noise all the time, or does it get worse the faster you fly, the more throttle you give? That's a key, because if it has a direct correlation to the throttle stick, then the noise really is coming from the motors, more so than anything. If it's not coming from the throttle stick and you just have noisy video all the time, it could be something else. But yeah, I don't want to tell you to like scrap all your motors and get new ones, but man, it's when you say they're noisy, no, it's not looking good. No, it's not looking good for Panda RC. If we're being honest, that sucks. I mean, it's always good to have more variety out there. Mainly micro. That's probably why I've heard of them, but I don't like know anybody that flies them. Or I myself, I've never owned one or anything like that. I'm not flying micros. Also, how are you supposed to get stack screws in here? I don't want to run stack screws through the middle of this split plate. I guess I could, but I'd rather just have it in this bottom plate, not the X plate though. Yeah, I mean, what, that 600 milliwatt is $22 on race day quads. That's fairly cheap. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so moral of the story, Windjumby, those are the two things I would recommend. Change the power to the camera from the VTX to a 5-volt pad. So power your cam from a 5-volt pad or a VBAT pad if your camera can take VBAT. But a pad on the power your camera from the flight controller and make sure you share that ground cable, the ground to the camera and the ground to the VTX. And then if that doesn't work, try starting to replace motors. Because motors are typically the cause, but yeah, okay. Sorry guys. cool. Cool. Let me get that live chat back up. And what do we got? The bottom plate won't fit the heads of screws through. It is a different bottom plate than in the diagram for on FPV cycle. It looks a lot more lightweight. Also, I'm missing chats. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna be here for this. Will be a multi-day event. Happy. More noise. More noise. Higher the throttle. Full throttle. The OSD starts to go nuts. I mean, there are sometimes ways that you can like work around that by providing the camera and the VTX with better voltage regulation. But at the end of the day, Windjumby, your motors are causing noise, and that is not really going to be, you can put a band-aid on it is what I'm saying, but it's not really going to be fixed by anything other than putting motors on it that don't have as much noise. So these are the motors that are going on my Glide here. Gotta pull them off this guy. Yeah, hello, Emily. Welcome. And Happy, you're just too old, man. Go to bed. And no, I'm kidding. No, but this will be I interrupted myself earlier. This will be a multi-day event, and you can catch it anytime you want. I usually leave this stream up on my channel for a couple days if you want to catch the replay. But then I'll probably take it down after a little bit just because work early. I forget what time zone you're in. Are you in Eastern? It's later there. It's not even 10 p.m. here, man. That's why I'm taking my sweet time. I actually have not my day job, but I have a Fiverr gig at 8 a.m. tomorrow, so I've got an early morning as well. I'm helping a guy troubleshoot his air unit is causing his ESC to trip and reboot, and I'm gonna help him troubleshoot that. Family Guyver in the house. What's up, man? Family Giver. I don't think Ciati ever asks. He just jumps in and says Family Guyver. Is that how you pronounce your name? It looks like Family Giver. That's how I would want to say it. But you tell me, man. You dang military time. I don't speak that. Just kidding. Yeah, so you are, wait, is that Central? No, that's Eastern. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I would be ready to go to bed too. I'm probably, here's the summary of what you're gonna miss after you go to bed. Happy is, you're gonna miss me putting these 4 motors, which are dirty and probably super noisy. You're gonna miss me bolting them onto the Glide. And then you're going to miss me maybe starting to solder on some race wire, and maybe starting to figure out the mounting hardware for my flight stack, which is gonna start with just the ESC. And you'll probably miss about 20 minutes of me hunting around for more motor wire to extend these all the way to the ESC. So it's just gonna be, yeah, man, race wire is the shit. It's good stuff. Okay, rip this frame. I ran this frame for a little while. Designed by Samuel Tucker, and yeah, this was the kid that was gonna design race day quads, like big custom frame, and this was his first design. Absolute tank of a frame, but really beefy and just a little too like heavy and chonky for my preference. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I crashed this thing a bunch, and all you've got is, I guess, a little bit of D-lam on the ends of the arms, but like no real damage anywhere. Like, what is that, like a 4mm, 3mm camera cage? It's just a super, I don't have my calipers nearby, super beefy East Coast. Yeah, thank you, Emily, for the correction on the time. You got drib motors you're not using. Is one of those drib motors that you're not using the drib motor that I sold you at Rampage? Man. Oh yeah, and I've got soft mounts that I was running on that frame, because I built that frame probably like probably like 3 years ago. No joke. Yeah. Yes, my drib motor is the drib motor that you're not using. Very fun. Let me bust out this race wire here. That's the, whoops, throwing things around. That's the other fun thing this rig is getting, is the TBS 69, which, yeah, so it's getting all the same components as are on the X-Hover Blaster that I just built recently. We've got some Tiny's LEDs race wire here. All right, what's going on? The frame, do the stack screws go through the frame? No, it doesn't look like it. Well, it looks like, here, there's an M3 bolt. It does not fit through the X plate. The head of that does not fit through the X plate. So you've either got to take off the X plate to get the hardware into the base plate, or you've got to run hardware all the way through that split. Oh. What's ope? Oh, don't you know? I guess that's the front. I mean, this is gonna be a roomy build. Let's just get some motors on and see what we like. I can probably use the same motor bolts. Yeah, that should be perfect, actually. No, most people don't soft mount motors these days. You should always soft mount your flight controller. Yes, soft mount. Well, if you're buying a flight controller that doesn't have soft mount built, like gummies built into it, throw it in the trash. Like, that is not a flight controller worth running. Unless it's like got a gel mounted gyro like the Holy Bro Kakute F4 did back in the day. But yeah, the gummies that come with the gummies that come with the flight controller are all you need to soft mount your drone. Oh boy, I still believe, and maybe I'm crazy, but I still believe genuinely that soft mounting motors should help, or does help. But I don't think it helps enough to really actually recommend it to people. I don't think it's a gimmick. A lot of people think it's a gimmick. I don't, but I don't think it's actually worth it. It's Midwest. No, I know what ope means. I'm a Midwesterner as much as you are, Emily. What did I almost drop? I don't remember. This goes too fast. A bolt, probably. A screw that would have dropped into the carpet and disappeared forever and ever, it would have just vanished into the ether, into the multiverse. Yeah, that happens. It's normal. That's part of drone building. Oh, sorry there. Oop. Yeah. What else is going on? Yeah, a lot of people think, we were talking about soft mounting. A lot of people think that when Johnny recommended, this was like 2017 probably, that when Johnny recommended people soft mount their motors using a couple strips of electrical tape on top of the arm and then sticking the motor on top of that, a lot of people since then have accused Johnny of basically pulling a big prank on us. And like he never thought it was legit. But I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people have talked to Johnny, and a lot of people ran that setup, whether it was electrical tape or these little 3D, these are 3D printed, just little like 1mm TPU spacers. And a lot of people ran that for a while, and then the black box data to kind of back up and provide any evidence that it was making a difference never really seemed to show anything significant. So most people stopped doing it, but it did start the trend of soft mounting everything. And I think without that, I think soft mounting flight controllers would not have caught on as quickly. So I think it was necessary for the hobby as a whole to kind of latch onto the idea of these motors make so much noise. And it's all coming from the motor straight into the frame, and the whole frame is just vibrating a ton, and that's not a good thing for these drones to perform well. So I think whether it was a prank or not, which, yes, Chomper, that would be absolutely incredible if it was just a troll move. But whether it was or not, I think it moved us in the right direction towards looking at other ways to reduce vibration, making it to the gyro, which ultimately is what we do now when we soft mount flight controllers. And it took us a long time to get there. A lot of people, we started off using the same flight controllers, but using those rubber grommet standoffs instead of nylon standoffs, or instead of like metal screws. And then we started like drilling out pre-existing hardware and putting those gummies in there. We just did all sorts of crazy things. Nailed it. What are we talking about? I know Johnny started the craze, but the tech has improved so much. It's just extra weight now. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think flight control firmware has come so far since. Now I want to look up when Johnny did recommend that. When he like released, I think it was probably a video on his YouTube channel. All right, I'm looking it up. Come with me. I bet you. Here we go. Desktop. YouTube, and we're gonna look at all of my recommendations. Hey, look. Let's watch this guy do his live stream. Johnny FPV soft mount. Let's see what comes up. The secret revealed. Soft mounting motors. 4 years ago. I need a date. January 13th, 2017. Dang. That's hilarious. That is, yeah, January 2017. Paul with the date as well. Man, oh man. That's hilarious. So, that is precisely when I got into FPV. Christmas of 2016, so December 2016, so like 2 weeks before that video came out, I was gifted just like a tiny, not even a tiny Whoop, but a little palm-sized indoor flying drone, like the Walmart special, whatever it was. It was a little SEMA, that's what it was. It was this little SEMA X5 something or other, I think. No, not X5, I don't remember. But got that drone for Christmas. It crapped out on like the second day, and I just went on a tirade. What's the word? I became obsessed with looking up online ways to fix this drone that I had just got and was no longer working. And I spent so much time looking online that like my entire online life and recommendations and all the algorithms were like, oh, this guy freaking loves drones. Let's just show him everything drones, because that's all I was doing, was trying to figure out how to fix this tiny little SEMA. And never found a solution for it, but I did find my way onto RC groups, was that the forum? And some Facebook groups and some other stuff. But primarily what led me to FPV, ooh, that is really close to the windings. What really led me to FPV was after all that searching for drone stuff, YouTube recommended me a Mr. Steele video. And I got sucked right in after watching that video. Yeah, that was end of December, beginning of January. So yeah, as that Johnny video came out, I was just getting into it all, and it was a blast. Black diagonal lines were white. Windjumby, sometimes it does come down to swapping out components. Sometimes I've had video noise before where I swapped out a camera and that fixed it. The video noise is not always caused by the VTX. I think a lot of people are mistaken by that. It's kind of just as likely to come from the camera as it is the VTX, or just as likely to come from the motors interfering with one or the other. So if you're considering swapping components, it doesn't have to be the VTX first. I know a new camera would probably cost just as much as a new VTX. Sorry, I gotta send a text real quick. All right. You know what's crazy? I started this crazy stream sitting down with dinner, and I've eaten like a quarter of it. All right. Let me get chat back up. The Foxeer Micro is probably a high enough quality camera where it's not going to be the cause of the noise, but if a motor noise is getting into the camera through whatever electrical path it's taking, then yeah, the camera could definitely be where the noise is generating from. Now, swapping from a Foxeer to something else, probably isn't going to fix it, but you never know. But like I recommended before, since I don't trust Panda RC as far as I can throw them, simply moving the power source for the camera away from the Panda RC VTX could fix it. And so at that point, the source of the noise would be the camera, but it's being sent from the power source on the VTX. So it's the VTX causing it, but the source is the camera. It's weird, but yeah. PID tune cause video noise. Not really. I'm trying to think like at a core level. No, it wouldn't. A bad PID tune, and a bad PID tune wouldn't cause it. Bad filters wouldn't cause it. It's really just because that all has to do with how the gyro is, how the gyro data is being interpreted, and then how it is being relayed back to the motors as signals. That's what the PID tune does, and it doesn't really have any interaction with electrical noise in that way. I guess if your PID tune was really bad and you had some sort of oscillation in the drone, like you said, your video noise gets worse when the throttle is higher. So if you had some sort of oscillation where the motors were kind of spinning up on their own uncommanded, then those motors spinning up would cause more noise. But at the end of the day, it's not the PID tune that's causing your noise. The PID tune can make it worse, I guess, if the PID tune is bad and the drone is flying poorly. But yeah, it all comes down to how the camera is communicating with the VTX and how they're getting powered. Yeah, typically that's right, Happy. If the video gets worse with throttle, it's an issue with the power and ground. So typically it's a ground, but he said he's tried that already. At least he's tried sharing the ground. I guess you could try moving the ground again, move the ground to a different location on the flight controller. I'm guessing you're getting ground on the flight controller and like not from the ESC. Yeah, it's hard to say. You kind of just have to try one thing and see if it works, and if it doesn't, just move on to the next thing. That's why I say that's why when I work with people, I stay in contact with them. I might do, like tomorrow morning, I have a video call with a client who I'm doing some troubleshooting with, and this will be our second call. This one's on a different topic than the first one was, but still, like after that first call with him, we've been chatting back and forth over text. Yeah, try another ground. I think that could work. And then, like I said, try powering the camera from the flight controller instead of from the VTX. Those are the first things I'd recommend. And then definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me, man, if the video noise keeps up after that. Or if it goes away, reach out as well. I'd love to know that what I said actually helps, because that's half the time how I learn best troubleshooting recommendations. Is what works for the most amount of people is what I recommend. So it's good for me to kind of keep in touch with what's actually working out of what I recommend. Yeah. Had throttle static with antenna wire close to the battery cable. Like the SMA, or sorry, yeah, the UFL to SMA pigtail kind of, or the video wire. Wait, what'd you say? Where'd your comment go? I got distracted. Throttle static, Family Guyver. I never read If You Told Me How to Say Your Name, Family Guyver. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Tag me and tell me how to say your name for real. Family something says, I've had throttle static with antenna wire close to the pigtail. Huh. That's interesting. I've never heard of that happening before, but I know you do get a fair amount of kind of electromagnetic noise, I think, from the antenna itself and from the VTX itself. So like if your VTX is too close to the ESC, it could cause that. Oh shoot, that's something I didn't even think about. That is a 30 by 30 mounted video transmitter. Do you have the VTX above the flight controller? Windjumby? Move the ground. Yeah, get back to me, man. Could I use the ground straight from the ESC? I would not recommend that, because most of the noise coming from the motors is going straight into the ESC. I'd keep everything powered separately from the flight controller. So use the 9-volt on the flight controller to power the VTX, and then use a 5-volt or a VBAT on the flight controller. If your camera can take VBAT, not all can. Most Foxeer micro cameras can, I think. But use a separate pad on the flight controller to power the camera, and then share the ground, and let me know how it goes. Yeah, I'm also curious about where the VTX is actually mounted in relation to the ESC, because it's a 30 by 30 mount. Man, this is gonna be just a real pain in my butt. I need to trim these. VTX is in the back alone. Okay. Have a good night, Happy. Thank you for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully. Family Guyver. Okay, I can hang on to that. Like MacGyver. Yeah, that makes sense. Just had to check. You know, I see you hanging out in Ciati's streams all the time, and got to do my own thing. Got to make sure I'm appropriately addressing my audience, you know. I'd hate to misidentify any of you fine folks. If I do, call me out on it. Whoops, there goes that. Oh, there goes that bit of that wire, eh? Oh no. I'm just gonna retrim these because they're pretty ugly solder ends on these, and I'd like to clean it up and back up the race wire a little bit. It does get sketchy every single time you shorten the wire coming out of a motor. You get closer and closer to just losing that motor as a whole. Oh, everybody's saying bye to Happy. Have a good night. Have a good day at work. Love you. Man, oh man. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do that on all of these motors, I guess, just because they're messy wires. We'll just do it one at a time. I was gonna do it in bulk, but the length of these are pretty long race wires, and I want to make sure I'm just stripping the tiniest amount of wire off of each of these. I'm actually going to cut that one back even further because the middle one doesn't really need as much. Sorry, my head's probably getting all up in the cam. Okay. Oh boy. I realize y'all probably can't see much of this at all. It's very small, precise working on these motor wires. I could try to figure out how to zoom in, or actually, yes, Paul, I love each and every one of you. There we go. I'll just slide that bad boy down, and hopefully I'll get a bit of a better view on what I'm doing. Yes, never give up. Akita Mendeo. I looked up some of like the Japanese, not translation, but like the pronunciation of the Japanese words for that whole Clam Man video. What a funny bit. Akita Mendomai. You know, have some fun with it. Yeah, so we're just gonna retin these guys and try and make this as clean as if it were a brand new build, you know? No reason to use old dirty solder balls if you can make the wires look nice and clean. I don't know why this probably needs a new tip on my iron here. It's pretty corroded the heck out. There we go. Kind of. Well, it's kind of working. What do we got going on? Yeah, man, Family Guyver. It's fun to do these. Seems to be more than 720. What, the quality of the stream? I don't think it is. Unless you're talking about something totally different. I think it is exactly 720p. What else would you be talking about? Are you talking to someone else? I don't know. 720. I don't think the video capture, I just got like a basic like HDMI to USB cable adapter that says the word video capture on the side. I'm like, that's not a real capture device. Well, it's working, so that is what it is. But basically, Ciati just posted on his Patreon. Everybody go check it out. CiatiFPV.com. Gotta plug my boy. Just posted a link to a new tool that everybody needs. A motor gripper that actually works. I just read the title. Dang, I cut this wire just a bit too short. That's frustrating. Okay. What was I even saying? 720. Yeah. I think when I was setting this up, I don't care about quality. I know, like, I have a microphone I could set up, but that just seems like too much work. Like, I know I could make this look better or sound better or whatever, but that's money that I don't really want to spend, and it's time. Mostly it's time that I really don't care to spend to I've streamed 3 times in total, and they've each been like a week or more apart from each other. So like, it's just a super casual thing whenever I feel like it. I've currently got 5 viewers in this stream. Like, who am I trying to impress? Come on, y'all are friends here. Like, you get it. And I don't feel the need to impress any of you guys. Except for Happy. Now that he's gone, I can confess to the rest of you guys my love for this man whose name is Benjamin Happy. That's not his name. His name is Benjamin, but he goes by Happy, and that's what you should call him, because he is a very happy man. He's a very sweet man. And at Rotor Riot Rampage, I was selling him a motor, and I named my price, and he was like, yeah, I'll pay that. And then he didn't have the cash for it, but he had beer coupons or beer tokens for the alcohol stand at Rampage. And he was like, I'll give you, like, what was it, like $10 in a beer coupon or whatever it was for the motor. And I was like, hell yeah, easy, any day. Beer is equal value to money, especially at a festival. Like, let's be real. So, bigger tip on iron helps spread out heat. Yeah, but these race wires are just tiny. I would not be comfortable soldering on these guys or like on flight controllers with any tip larger than what I've got. Yeah. So I'll just keep rocking what I've got for now, but I'll probably maybe after tonight or something, I'll just replace the tip with the same size and shape, but just a newer one, just for the sake of getting a non-corroded tip, you know. I can't quite tell if that's shorted. I don't think it is. But it's too small of a gap even for my tweezers to make it through cleanly, which is disconcerting. I was just trying to scrape away the flux. It's not working. Yeah, there's some room. Okay, good enough for me. All right. I think Ciotti's talking about Fahrenheit. Like, I only run 300, but that's 300 Celsius. I think when Ciotti says 600, he's talking about Fahrenheit. And a lot of irons, like your 480, that's probably Celsius. So the conversion, 600, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe your thing is saying Fahrenheit, but the conversion, 600 Fahrenheit to Celsius, is 315 degrees. So I'm guessing, who said that? Who said that theirs maxes out 480? Paul McDonald. I'm guessing that on yours, if you want to run the same temp as Ciotti, 315 degrees on your iron should be the same thing as 600 on his. Because that's what mine is. Mine's Celsius. And I know some of them, like the TS100 here, is totally programmable. So I'm sure you can flash it and change the measurement or whatever. But I just run it as it came. And it works for me. Okay. These arms are actually relatively short. Well, it's not that the arm is that short. It's that this little bulbous bit. I guess you guys don't really have the best view. Sorry. I'm an amateur. What is this? Amateur hour? This little bulbous bit coming off of the bottom plate, base plate, sticks out into the arm far enough where this long race wire doesn't really want to settle in unless you trim the motor wires real short, which is exactly what I'm doing, which
generally I mean, it's not the end of the world, but generally I'd say I'd prefer to keep some length. Yeah, there you go, Dan. Yeah, that difference gets super confusing because you'll hear someone say like, "Oh, I always run my soldering iron at such and such," like Ciati does. I'll always run it at 600, and I'm like, "Holy cow! I only run mine at 300." Like, how? What? He runs his so hot, and then I realized like, oh, conversion, and from dumb cheeseburger units. Ha! Stole that one from Ciati. Stole it straight from you, boy. And to the rest of the world units, which, I mean, honestly, as an American, let's get rid of imperial measurements. The foot, the inch, the mile, the gallon. It's not necessary. Get rid of it all of it. Say goodbye. The pound. You guys can keep your pound for money, but for weight, nah. Give it to me in stone or something archaic like that. No, I don't know. Kilograms great though. Grams, kilograms. Nobody needs to know how many ounces something is. Like, and then you've got ounces and its weight, but then you've also got ounces and its volume. Like, come on. I'm just saying. I know not everybody agrees. And it probably took me getting into FPV to like become way more used to talking in metric measurements. But at this point, if I'm talking in, I spend a lot of time in the FPV Facebook groups. If any of you guys are like new to FPV in any way and are looking for good Facebook groups or just generally looking for good forums for finding FPV, for finding information about FPV, the forums are dead. It's all Facebook groups. Get on Facebook groups and remove yourself from the Rotor Riot group. Just kidding. That one's fine, but it's not the best. Join up with these two groups. FPV Builders is probably the most helpful, most wholesome group anybody could ever join. It's great. FPV Builders is number one. Number two, I would say FPV Life is pretty good. And they used to be a brand, but I think they're no more. FPV Life. But now it's just kind of this solid group of folks who like FPV. You get a little bit of drama in there, but you get drama anywhere in this hobby. But I spent a lot of time in like the Long Range Hooligans group as well. Long Range Hooligans and Mid-Range Mountain Surfing. But it doesn't matter what group it is. If I'm ever talking about flying long range, I don't even talk in miles anymore. Like, was it Dan earlier said he just flew a mile? In my head, like I went to respond to that, and in my head I was like, how many kilometers is a mile? Like I was thinking like, I know how many kilometers, like I'll send my 5-inch freestyle rigs about a kilometer out. That's kind of the max I'll go on a 5-inch. But I have 7-inch rigs that I've taken like, 4 kilometers, pretty easily. And like, yeah, I know like 4 kilometers is about 2.5 miles. So like I can do the conversion most of the time. I know if like 5K is 3.1 miles because I ran cross country in high school. But like Yeah, most of the time at this point, if I'm thinking about the weight of a drone, if I'm thinking about how far I'm flying with a drone, if I'm thinking about what else? Whatever it may be. I mean, even technically, video transmitter output power, that's metric. Not milliwatts is metric, because the watt is just a standard unit of measurement, and then it has prefix where you can change watt to kilowatt if you multiply it by 100, or if you divide it by 1,000, you get the milliwatt or whatever those are, right? 1,000, 100, something like that. And same with if you choose to measure your VTX output power in decibels, dB or dBm or whatever I think it's some form of dB, but dB stands for decibel, and that's it's a lot of things. I'm most familiar with dB in audio production. It's usually a measurement of sound, but I think more generally it's the amplitude of a wave, right? Something like that. Yeah, 500 milliwatt is half a watt, 0.5 watts. Yeah, once you get into like 1,000 milliwatt, 1,300 milliwatt VTXs, like some companies will just call that a 1.3 watt VTX. I'm like, yeah, of course. But not everybody knows that. Man, these solder joints are so close to each other. That's got to be shorting. There's no way that's not. But yeah, dB is, because deci is a metric prefix as well. It means deci is 1/10 of. So from a bell, you would have a bell, and then going down, just moving the decimal point around, you'd have a bell to a decibel to a centibel to a millibel, which nobody ever uses those measurements except for like extreme cases. But the same way, like, you know what a liter is, or like if you're in America, at least you know what a 2-liter bottle of soda looks like. So if you take half of that, that's a liter. Like, you know what a liter is. And technically you could say like, and most of us can like understand what a milliliter is. It's like, just a couple drops of whatever fluid it is. So like we understand these concepts, but like you can measure a megaliter, you can measure a gigaliter. Like, that's a lot of fluid, but you can just add a liter of cola is, that's just a regular bottle, or whatever. But like, you can have a megaliter, and like I can't imagine what that would look like, because it's not a commonly used form of the liter measurement. But once you get into data measurement, then you can imagine what a gigabyte is. And giga is just a metric prefix. So you can add those prefixes to you can have a gigawatt, or as commonly mispronounced by pop culture, a gigawatt, or a giggity. Oh, God. Oh, my God, man. Well done. This is so dumb. Giggity. Thank you, Dan. That made me laugh. Oh, man. I'm still cracking up. Any Hoozleby. Yeah. Metric is just, it's so easy to comprehend. Like, even the fact that I can't picture a gigaliter, if someone were to say like, oh, I've got a silo that has this many gigaliters, like, can I comprehend accurately like what that measurement realistically means? No, not really. But like, I can comprehend and I can equate it. Like, I can do the equation really fast. I'm like, oh, that's this many liters. Like a giga is, well, kilos. What is a giga? Mega, giga. Is it 10,000? No, it's more than that. I don't know. But yeah, so I guess I don't know. But it's just adding zeros. It's just moving decimal points. Jackalope! Yes! What's up? How you doing? Welcome. Welcome to this very chill stream of mine. Hey guys, maybe when Ciati gets off of his very important... Oh, don't want that to happen. Maybe when he gets off of his very important video shoot, he'll say hey in the chat. I don't know. I don't control the man. Oh, shoot. Stripped way too much of that. Mega 1 million, Giga 1 billion, Tera 1... Well, that's easy. Shoot. Should have known that. But yeah, that's weird to think of like you can technically measure a terameter, but like nobody's ever said the word terameter before, because at that point you're probably just at like light years or something. I don't even know. Wait, is light years distance? Yeah, light years is distance. I was gonna say, is light year a measurement of time? No, it's measurement of distance. That's another weird thing. What is the measurement of time? Is that yes, Jackalope. Yes, wink. No, I have no idea. I don't control the man. He knows what he's doing. So it would be a super bummer if one of the members of the collective were to be the one to 1.06 times 10 to the fourth. Yeah, I can't do scientific notation anymore. What do I look like, a sixth grader? I learned that once and then promptly forgot it. But I remember what it's called. Scientific notation, right? That's the 10 to the fourth sort of measurement or way of writing numbers, isn't it? I don't know. Hey Google, how many meters is a light year?
1 light year is equivalent to 9.461 times 10 to the 15 meters.
I got 9 point something something times 10 to the 15th meters. 10 to the 15th. Does that mean 9 with 15 zeros after it? How many is that? That's 5 chunks of 3, so that's 1,000, a million, a billion, a trillion. So is that like 9 quadrillion meters? If tera is trillion, what is quadrillion? That's the real question. So you could measure a light year as 9,000 terameters, right? On the reg. Hangs out with rappers. Yeah, man, that he's going places, and when he's getting too many professional gigs to do regular FPV streams anymore, I'll be there to fill his shoes. 9,000 terameters, so 9,000 trillion meters. But that's a distance none of us can actually properly comprehend. It's so large. 9,000 terameters. That's funny. What was it? 9.46. Thank you. We can be his entourage. He's not rapping. At least I hope he's not. Oh, dear Lord. Could you imagine that poor white man trying to rap? He doesn't need an entourage. Stupid distances. Yeah, I mean, like, we know of light years for a reason, I guess. We've got to measure it occasionally for some very scientific things. 300,000 kilometers per second is light speed. Also known as 300,000 kilometers. So if we were to try and say meters, it would be another, so is that 30, it's another 2 zeros, right? To get to meters. So it'd be 30 million, no, 2 zeros. 3 million, 30 million. 30 million meters, also known as 30 megameters per second. So, like, technically you can just do that. That's not a thing that you can do in imperial, like, you can't do that with miles. You can't just say, oh, you can't say it's 30 or 300,000 kilometers, also known as 30 megameters. You're just stuck with however many miles an hour. I guess you can do miles a second, but that's just modulating the time. It's not modulating the miles. I mean, you could modulate down to yards or feet, but there's no point in that. We want to go bigger, but there's nothing bigger than miles. Is there anything, am I dumb? Is there anything bigger than miles? Megameters. It sounds so powerful, right? 30 megameters per second. It's great. It's so much more fun. See? It's metric is so much more fun and powerful. You get weird, awesome stuff like 30 megameters a second. You don't get that with feet. I'll show you my feet. Put my feet somewhere where you don't want them. I don't know. Now I'm just being rude. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to be mean to you. I don't want to be rude. But I do want to make it clear that I support metric. And that is all. All right. Let's see if we can get this done cleanly. That third wire on this, I definitely trimmed. Just way too short, or way too much exposed wire, rather. So that's gonna be a joy to mess around with in a second. What do we got? The distance from here to Mars. Well, now I can't tell if you're joking. Is 2.8 super ultra megameters. Yeah. Now you're just messing with me. Man, I was just having a good old time, enjoying the awe and simplicity, oh boy, of the metric system. And now you gotta go messing with me. Dan. That's alright. Us Dans have to stick together. Although I only ever go by Daniel or Remy. It's fun in the FPV community because that's a gigameter. Or gigameter. Who knows? It's super fun in the FPV community because my pilot name is Remy Tim. My Christian name is Daniel, and that's what I go by to like all my friends. Like I'm always Daniel. I've never gone by Dan or Danny. But because my FPV name is Remy Tim, when I'm like first contacting people, only my mom and girlfriend call me Daniel. Yeah, that sounds about right. How'd the girlfriend get looped in with that? That sounds too close for comfort. No, I'm just messing with you. There have been a number of occasions actually where someone will like reach out to me on Instagram and like they just see my handle as Remy Tim and they see Tim and they're like, oh, that's a normal name. That must be his name. And they'll just call me Tim. And like, sometimes I correct them. But most of the time I'm just like, yep, I'll just go by Tim. Sure. Because like, that's a part of my FPV handle. So like, I'll respond to it. Like, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm like, you just assumed that was my real name. And it very much is not. But it's just funny. It's just funny interactions with people on social media. The kind of interactions you don't really get in real life. Jiggity. Yeah, most people do. I guess I didn't really think that through when I picked Remy Tim as my pilot handle. So Remy Tim, it's really dumb. It comes from this group of video gamers who create like video game content on YouTube called Achievement Hunter. That's the name of their like collective, I guess, their group. And they were playing this wrestling video game where you create your own character using like generic like colors and like luchador masks or like whatever weird costumes wrestlers, you know, like WWE style wrestling. So everything's just very showy. And so they have like a create your own character part of the game. And so at the beginning of the video they made, they like introduced all of the characters they made. And they all came up with dumb names for them too. And one of them made this like just weird looking guy in all purple and orange. And the name was Remy Tim. Yeah, there's the wrestler. If you Google it, if you Google just Remy Tim, it's like the main thing that comes up so what Remy Tim has become in that like community of people who are like followers of that gaming collective of Achievement Hunter. Remy Tim is any character that wears like bright purple and bright orange. And so when I started building my drones, I just latched onto that color combo and I've never given it up. So bright purple, bright orange for all things FPV. This drone it's seen better days. So, I mean, all the way down to the zip ties, all the way up to, if I can, like colors of motor bells. I actually bought this frame painted. The only reason when I got into FPV, the only reason I used left-hand circular polarized antennas was because TBS sold their Triumph left hand in orange. And I was like, well, it's orange. Like, of course I've got to get it. So it's literally just the color combo of purple and orange to me. And I build as many of my drones as I can using that color combo. And I call myself Remy Tim, and it works. Because the whole thing with like the luchador mask is like Remy Tim as a character is supposed to be like totally anonymous, like nobody knows who he is. So for all you guys know, I could be the real Remy Tim. Nice and bright, yes. I love putting LEDs on my rigs with bright orange or bright purple. The race wire definitely helps with that. On one of my rigs, I've got bright orange race wire. These are RGB programmable. You just short these little pads together to choose what color, and so it doesn't really have a good orange option, but you can make a nice purple with these by shorting the red and the blue, so that's what I did on my last build with these race wires. And then I'll probably do, on this one, I'll probably do an orange LED on the underside of the frame. So like, can use that for line of sight or for chase footage. It'll be easier for someone to like follow me for not chase footage. Formation flying, that's what I meant. Blue only. Yeah, the ones that like come with a dedicated color are usually a lot brighter in that specific color, and like that's my preference. But when I was ordering for these builds, like almost all of the race wire was just completely out of stock. Like all the different brands, all the different stores, like it was just crazy. Like I couldn't find anything, and I was like, it's insane how much was just out of stock. So I managed to find these ones, and like I said, they're like RGB programmable, not like through a wire programmable. It's hard to see. Whoops, I'm stuck to the bench. See if I can show you. Hold on. On the top here, it's got two little pads and an R next to it, two little pads and a G next to it, two little pads and a B next to it. And if you just short the two R pads together, you get all red. If you just short the two G pads, then you get all green. If you just short the two blue pads, you get all blue. If you start combining, you can turn the primary colors into secondary colors. And so I do the red and the blue to get purple. Yeah. I guess if you did like blue and you just combine them. It's basic primary and secondary colors. I can't think right now, but you don't get a good orange out of it. I actually don't even use zip ties. I just use VHB, and sometimes I'll use a little bit of heat from a heat gun to warm up the VHB, but most of the time I'll just press the VHB. I'll stick it to the back of the race wire, and then I'll just kind of shove the race wire into the frame for a few solid seconds, and just that pressure really activates the adhesive. And I don't think I've ever had race wire pop off. Back in the day when I ran a lot more individual ESCs, I would use that same method, and I would just do VHB on the back of an individual ESC on the arm, and then just use pressure to get it to stick to the arm and no zip tie. And I had a few times where the ESC would pop off, but it's stuck between, like, I use short wires between the ESC or the race wire and the motor, and I use short wires, everything's taut, so even if the VHB comes up undone, it's not long enough where it can fly into the prop. It's just kind of gently flopping there just a tiny bit, and like it's not going to cause you to crash, it's not going to cause any damage, it's not actually going to get in the way of anything. It's just going to be there until you replace the VHB and stick it back down again. And if that happens, on multiple occasions, even if I like clean the arm and like make sure, like, clean it with isopropyl alcohol or whatever, make sure it's a good solid connection, and it still happens, then I'll probably add a zip tie or something. But for the most part, zip ties aren't necessary for race wire in my experience, at least. Alrighty, that is 4 motors and 4 race wires. I'm still on all analog jackalope. Yeah, Family Guyver, those programmable LEDs from Betaflight can be super fun because you can do a ton of different settings with them. I had that on some of my early days builds, and thought it was fun. And then Tiny's LEDs came out with their like VBAT powered LEDs, and I realized it's way easier to just run a power plus and ground and just stick the LED wherever you want it, and you don't have to run a signal wire, and you don't have to configure it, and you get super bright color, whatever color you want, because you choose ahead of time when you buy it. And I'm like, I'm good with that. I'll just stick with that. So that's what I do. So I have mostly orange Chinese LEDs. Be careful, Paul. Don't hurt yourself. And if you do hurt yourself, post pictures in Ciati's Discord. Is that bad? Is that bad of me? No. You won't hurt yourself. I do. Yeah, I've had 7-inch rigs for a couple of years now, and I'd show you the one that I'm running right now, but it's stuck to my wall with the cables for the GoPro running through the GoPro mount for it, just as like cable management, so that the cables aren't like flopping onto the soldering iron. So I can't show you my current 7-inch, but I can tell you the specs of it, despite the fact that I'm probably about to rebuild it on a new frame. So I've got two 7-inch frames coming, and I've got all the parts to build them up to be, if I decide to use both frames. I'm definitely going to use at least one of them, and that is the AOS 7-inch Falcon, which is Chris Rosser and Falcon Rad's collaboration. I've got that coming, and I have an FR7 coming. But the current 7-inch I have is the Floss 3.0 7-inch version, using Multicopter Builders 2208 2150 kV motors. They're a little small for 7-inch, but if you use a lightweight 7-inch prop, you get pretty good run times, and for long range cruising, you don't need that flight performance from a bigger motor. You don't need like crazy PID performance or like low latency from removing filtering and stuff. So I do not mind at all having tiny motors or lightweight bi-blade props. And then it's got a Lux F7 flight control, Lumineers F7 flight controller. It has a Unify Pro analog VTX and a Runcam Racer camera, and then it's got the Crossfire Diversity Nano. All of my 7-inch rigs have always had, or both of them have always had, the Crossfire Diversity Nano, which is mostly overkill for any quadcopter, but I would rather have a little bit extra security. Batteries, I typically run, well, it's changed over the years. So when I first started doing 7-inch long range, I had a couple different packs I would use. One of those packs was a 5S 5000 LiPo. That thing was an absolute monster, way too heavy, did not run efficiently, but I got like 12-minute flight times of like fast cruising. I'm talking like probably around 60 miles an hour cruising at about 3,000 feet of elevation, climbing and descending mountains the whole time. Other than that, I'll run 4S, 5S, on different, 2200, 3300 milliamp hour lipos, or I will do, more recently, I've started running lithium ion batteries. So I currently only have one of each, but I currently have one 4S 18650 pack, and I have one 4S. These are 4S 1P. So this is 18650, and this is 21700 cells. So this one has like a 20 amp draw and has 2200 milliamp hours, I think. This one has a 42 amp draw and 4000 milliamp hours, and it's not that much bigger or that much heavier. Now for my serious like long range stuff, I'll run these in parallel. So that's about 60 amps of draw, which is all you're ever gonna need. Just running this is not enough on most cases. I'll run this on a lightweight 5-inch and I'll get like 9 minutes of flight time, which is insane because it is the same size and weight as like a 4S 1500. It's crazy. And this gives like 4.5 to 5 minutes if you're really slowly cruising, and then when you slow cruise with this, it like literally doubles to like 9 minutes. It's insane. But yeah, so recently when I've done my like 4 kilometer out and 4 kilometer back flights up a mountain, I'm talking like starting at like 10,000 feet of elevation and going up to like 12,000 feet, run these in parallel, and it's overkill. It's more than enough. I could probably do it on just this one alone, but I'd rather have the security and the ability to, if I miss a line coming down, I don't have to fly all the way home and then plug in a new battery and fly all the way back. I can like miss the line coming down, turn around a quarter of the way down and go back up and retry the line coming down the mountain or whatever. Props. I run Gemfan 7-inch props, bi-blades mostly. The HQ, whatever the newest one is supposed to be really good. The tri-blades, the 7 by 3.5 or 7 by 4, I can't remember. They're like the see-through gray ones. They're good. I ran them a little bit, but they're too heavy for my 2208 motors, so I cannot keep running them. Okay. I don't know that I'm gonna do anything else tonight. It's getting kind of late. I've been live for 2.5 hours, and I've been talking way too much, so I can feel it in my voice. She flies. Yes. Congrats on not killing yourself. Yeah, size of motors 2208s. I'm actually on, so I'm rebuilding my Super G Plus, which is my old, no longer working 7-inch. I'm rebuilding that on the AOS 7 Falcon, and I'm gonna use which motors? I'm gonna use these motors, the Emax Eco 2 2807. It doesn't say the KV. That's okay. But I just bought these secondhand. Oh, there it is, 1700 kV. Probably don't need 1700 kV, but I can motor limit down. But yeah, these are way bigger than any motor I've had before. So definitely going to be an improvement in flight performance running these chonky boys on that new 7-inch that's going to be coming in. So after the glide build finishes, I have one more 5-inch that it's not going to be a total rebuild, but it's basically going to be a stack replacement. We're just replacing the ESC and probably the flight controller as well, although maybe not, on a Stingy frame. And then after that, it's going to be 7-inch town for a while here on my Workbench. So, excuse me, got the hiccups. So maybe I'll live stream some of that 7-inch building. But that's gonna do it for tonight. And I appreciate y'all hanging out. Come back anytime. Hit me up anytime. FPVmentor.com and drop y'all that link again. And oh man. Copy. Paste. There you go. Thanks for hanging, Paul. And yeah, never hesitate to reach out. I appreciate y'all. And I'll see you around at Ciati's next stream. So yeah, till then, folks. See ya.